Alright guys, it is Thursday night. I don't have my watch on. It is charging so it does not die on the long run. But tomorrow morning, we are going to be getting some miles in the on Cloudeclipse here. Now last week, I did my long run, 27 miles. It was a marathon, but I did an extra mile because I started my watch late. And you know how it goes. You have to get the full 26 for Strava, so it counts it. So I did 27.4 miles last week, not in this shoe, not in a new shoe. It is my first ever real running shoe from 2019, the Nike Epic React, which has lower stack of foam, and that thing was beaten into a pulp. And then this week I'm coming off 4 straight double days. So I've decided I do not want to be a hero, and I want to run in the cushiest, most comfortable shoe that I still haven't gotten a long run in, and that is the On Cloudeclipse. So tomorrow we are going to be waking up bright and early, 20 miles around the hood in this pillowy, thick boy. Let's do it. Alright guys, 4:58 a.m. We are not going back to sleep this morning. Hobby jogger hat is going on. Water is going on. And we can crack open our fresh new coffee here. So I'm actually super excited about this morning because we got new coffee and new shoes. Oops. New coffee and new shoes, and we don't have to go 22 or 26. We're just gonna do a nice short 20 miler this morning in what is one of the most comfortable shoes that I've tried recently. So today this coffee is from Hatchet. This is our favorite coffee shop from out in the mountains. This is in the northern part of the western part of the state, the northwestern part of the state, Boone. And they always write a little handwritten note in this. Thanks for ordering the Bolivia. We hope you enjoy. Nice. So yeah, I wanted to switch it up. This was their Bolivian natural process light roast. Should be fire. Alright, I want to brush my teeth and everything, and we can come back and brew this bad boy. Okay, coffee is brewing away here. One smell test. They're right. It smells like cola, but I think it's gonna be a little bit more friendly for Charlie's palate. She did not like the funky. I think it was some weird fermentation process that we had last time. This is a more standard natural process. This should be fire. A little sweet cola. So yeah, this morning we're gonna get 20 miles in. I gotta get some breakfast in. We are going to the mountains after this run, which will be fun. So I front loaded my week with mileage, which is something I do sometimes when I know my weekend is gonna be tough or we have people visiting. So Monday through Thursday I did 4 straight 20-mile double days. I've never done that before. And that was also coming off of Saturday or coming off of Sunday, which was a marathon distance. So I have 106 miles on my legs in the past 5 days. Today will be, after this run on 126, that'll actually be 130 miles in the past 7 days. So I've never done a 130-mile week before, but I honestly feel pretty good. The only thing that's hurting a little bit is my foot, my left foot. I think from wearing those lower stack Nike shoes, it's not too bad, but that's the thing with wearing any old shoes. You do have an injury risk, and I'm not injured, but they definitely were not as comfortable. So that's what I wanted to do today, and that's why I'm going for the On Cloudeclipse. I haven't been doing a lot of long runs in higher stack training shoes. I've usually been doing them in marathon racing shoes, and especially as I was leading up into my last marathon in April, I was doing my runs almost every weekend in aggressive racers. So the reason that I've been liking the On Cloudeclipse, and let me show you something real quick. So I love On. You guys probably know that at this point, but these are my Cloud Monsters. I did use these for some long runs when I was training for the Charlotte Marathon. That was 2 years ago. They have now been retired into backyard lacrosse, bike watching. That's a new activity. As a father of a 5-year-old, I just have to watch Mason ride her bike around. Daddy watch. So I might throw these on, but they're pretty beaten down. They weren't my absolute favorite for long runs, but pretty comfortable. I like them for regular everyday miles. They didn't feel super fast. They didn't feel like they were weighing me down or slowing me down either, but a comfortable shoe. And the other Max Cushion shoe that I wear a ton, this is one of my favorite shoes. This is probably my favorite shoe to just walk around, and you can see it's starting to get pretty beaten up, and I've just let this one get dirty. This is my go to the park shoe and whatnot, but I should probably clean it off because I just don't like having dirty shoes in general. It also looks a lot dirtier on camera than in real life. I don't know why, but this is the Brooks Ghost Max. Super comfortable. I didn't love it for running, and in general, I don't love using these softer Max Cushion shoes for long runs because they can be a little bit sandy feeling, like you're running through sand. Even this on shorter runs can give me some of that sensation where it feels like I'm fighting against the foam a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how the Cloudeclipse does, whether or not it has that same sinking in feeling. Another shoe that I haven't tried for a long run that was one of my favorite shoes for shorter distances is the 1080 V13. So I've used that shoe for everything up to 90 minutes, and it's great. But I just don't like taking it past that point because even at 90 minutes, I'm usually hoping for a little bit more pep in my step. But with the On Cloudeclipse, and we can go take a look at it real quick. Bang. With this guy here, just look at how much cushion it has. Look at that massive stack. So the first time that I used the shoe, it reminded me a little bit actually of the New Balance SC Trainer V2 with how much the foam compresses. And it's not necessarily that the foam is super soft, but these pods help the foam compress. So it reminded me of that soft SC Trainer V2 feeling. And then I was getting a little bit of snap off the forefoot, more than I would have expected from a Max Cushion shoe like this. So I'm hoping that the Cloudeclipse here has a little bit more pep to it than we might expect from a shoe with this gigantic stack. Because again, I don't love taking these high stacked shoes out for long runs. Actually, another one that I did recently was this guy, the Oomph 22. And this is just overall a complete mess of a shoe. This is, I'll save it for the 100-mile review. But on the long run, it felt bulky. And I don't necessarily mind the weight of the shoe, but anytime I'm running in it, it just feels like so much material around my ankle. Look at the padding around the heel here. And let's compare it to the Cloudeclipse, which has a decent amount of padding, but I just don't understand what Saucony is doing with this Triumph here. And the other thing is the 10 millimeter drop. So you get a lot of foam. It looks like a ton of foam, but then under the forefoot, it does not feel that cushioned. And like the Super Blast with this shoe, I just felt like I couldn't compress the foam enough to get much out of it. And some people were saying maybe you need to be a bigger runner to get the benefit from this shoe. But if that's the case, you need to put more force down into the shoe. I wouldn't be going for this heavy, chunky shoe. I would be going for a lighter weight shoe if I need to put more force down into it to run faster. Or I'd go with the Convara Pro, because that's actually a good shoe in the Saucony lineup. I've been liking that shoe. Brought it recently. So today we're going with the Cloudeclipse here. Massive stack of this foam. Cloud Tech Phase Pods. sweet design language here. Look at this. Bang. Fire. I just heard my toes pop though, so let's go get into that. Oh, I definitely... Is that burnt? I think that's slightly burnt, but calories are calories. I'm just gonna eat it. Alright, it is 5:28. I want to try to head out of here by around 6:15, so I'm gonna make my burnt toast super quickly, try to eat it, and then circle back when it's time to almost hit the road. Yeah, that is 100% burnt, but I'm not gonna waste food. The issue is I usually only toast bread that is frozen, so whenever I'm toasting regular bread, and also that bread is super flimsy, I'm just making a bunch of excuses. I just didn't execute the game plan properly. No excuses. That's all me. All right, the burnt toast is finished. I want to give a quick review on the coffee here. So this is the Bolivian natural process. It was solid. It was not as fruity, not as out there. The notes weren't as wild as some of the coffees that I've been liking to drink recently, but I think Charlie will like it, that's the reason I went with this versus some other stuff. So I think this is going to be a crowd pleaser in this house. With the natural process, usually we have some pretty good luck with those. It's when you go for the crazy anaerobic ones with all those different fermentation that we get a little bit wild. So I'm going to put my plate in the sink. Usually I would try to put it in the dishwasher, but dishwasher is full. I don't want to be banging plates and everything, putting stuff away. And I'm going to get my running clothes on. So today we are going with the John G 5-inchers. These are great summer running shorts. And then Ironman shirt. Everyone always asks me about this. I did not do the full Ironman. I just did the running part of a relay, so half marathon. But all right, I'm going to change and then we can go lace up these shoes. All right, got the clothes on. Last thing before we head out is fueling for today. So I told you guys last week, I am getting tired of the taste of this Tailwind. So I went ahead and I ordered some Huma energy gels. So these things are chia based. I used to use them last summer and then I don't really know why. I just kind of switched off of them. And I've said this before, but the best part of these things is that you can get them on Amazon and they usually do next day delivery. Sometimes they even have overnight delivery. So if you're not an advanced planner, they're great. So there's a bunch of different flavors. I'll probably do plain water with them. Well, definitely will. So maybe I'll do 1 caffeine. Oh, that's 2x caffeine. I don't know how many milligrams that is. It does not say. It would be 50 milligrams. So these 1x caffeine must be 25. So maybe I'll do a caffeine at mile 4, a non-caffeine at mile 8, and another caffeine at mile 15 or something. I'm going to keep it pretty light. I'll just bring another one. I did not have the biggest breakfast, so this would be about 400 calories. Yeah, each of these are 100 calories. Same as the Morton. The most caloric ones that I've tried are Spring Energy Gel. Those are what was I going to say? Those are 250 calories. So we got our gels. Now I just got to get my water. Then we can hit the road. All right, guys, a little behind schedule, but we are fluided up. We're watered up and ready to go. And guess what? Doesn't matter if we're behind schedule or not today because it is a vacation day. PTO, baby. So no work. And that's why I'm doing the long run on Friday. So the plan for this morning is 20 miles, as you know. And we're looking to just get it done. So as I mentioned, I've had a ton of mileage in the past week. This will be closing out a 130 mile week stretch, or trailing past 7 days. Strava will probably show it as 100 for this week, just counting from Sunday onward, but 130 total in the past 7 days. So today, all about time on feet. I'm actually thinking about, I don't know, because I like running 100 miles a week, but I'm thinking about next week, maybe adding in some new workouts, trying some different things. I did the 10K time trial a few weeks ago. I think that was last week, and I actually really liked that. So I might run that back and not run it, again, time trials are not all out, but run it with a little bit more restraint, I would say. But I do want to start working on some speed again, some threshold pace again, because Chicago Marathon is 4 months away. I haven't come up with a goal yet for that or a strategy in general, but I should start thinking about fall training at this point. So 20 miles this morning. We are fully laced up. Let's hit it. All right, we are off. And what I did not realize is that it rained last night. So it's a little slick out here. And I can tell you right away on these little wet patches, I don't think the Cloudeclipse is a top dog. So far in the Cloudeclipse, I only have one run and I put the shoe into casual use. So we'll see how it does today. And that run was only 4 miles. So this is a little bit of a gamble, but it's been a very comfortable shoe for walking. And it's decently comfortable so far as we're warming up into the run. So I'll check back in a little bit. All right guys, mile 1. I just hit 8:54, which is a little bit on the slow side for me. Not a little bit, that is slow for me. And I'm not really mashing the gas or trying to pick up the pace at all here, but it doesn't really feel like the shoes have much bounce to them, which is something that I experienced in the Cloud Monster too. It was more of a squish, and that's what these feel like. There's not a lot of pop or bounce or speed assistance. It's more of just a gentle roll through and a squish. So I'll check back in a little bit, but I'm thinking this is gonna be a long, plodding run this morning.
All right guys, mile 6 here, and pretty much the same thing that I said in the beginning. Not getting a lot of pop or bounce, but it is a very comfortable shoe. And lots of that underfoot squish. Not as squishy as something like the 1080, but pretty squishy. I'd say it's up there for sure. But the main difference is when I do want to watch this, pick it up just a little bit, the rocker is super nice. So that is a benefit of this tech in here, the Cloudeclipse Phase. It's decently versatile so that it gives that soft squish and then also that nice bounce. And by the way, I've been car spotting. I didn't have the GoPro on, but I saw a Cadillac Escalade V. Those things are sick. And it revved its engine. The V8 in that is nasty. But all right, I'm gonna take this first gel here. I did not take it at mile 4, so I should take it now. And then I'll check back in a little bit. All right guys, we just hit mile 8. And I was running out on 51, the main road here, because I had to go do an errand. Quick little pit stop to get a surprise for somebody. And man, it is awful running out on the main road. You gotta find routes that are enjoyable to run. That's why I always run in here. Look at this, it's quiet, there's trees. You can hear the birds. So much better. And it's cleaner. My shoes are probably wrecked from running out there. Anyway, I'm gonna drop everything back at the house, just on the mailbox, quick drop and go, because I'm feeling kind of weighed down by the GoPro and the water and stuff, and we're only doing 20 today, so I'm gonna try to, I don't know about pick up the pace, but just finish in a better place, because I'm feeling slow and sluggish. And then I'll see you guys at mile 20. One more thing, I always tell you guys the best workout start the night before. You can say the same thing about bad workouts too. I don't know if this is a bad workout, but just don't really have much juice this morning. The worst workout started the night before too. And yesterday we were at a pool party for Mason's friend till about 8 p.m. And then I had to edit and post the video, which was shorter than I would have liked. And the whole day yesterday was just kind of rushed. And so my whole schedule is thrown off. So when stuff like this happens, I don't put pressure on myself to hit a crazy workout. And that's the golf course over there, by the way. But I just try to stick to the plan with the mileage, keep it pushing, and get them back tomorrow. But today will be 100 on the week. We're just gonna close it out strong, and then we can get them next week with some speed. We're about to round the bend here to the house, almost mile 9. I'm gonna drop the stuff, try to finish strong, and see you in hour 10, hour 20. It's not always pretty. Today's one of those days. And I'll promise to always keep it open on this channel, open with you and how I'm feeling. Today is one of those days. It's not even necessarily physically. I feel fine physically. It's just a mental slog. Like I said, the previous day, it always affects my next day. And last night, editing till 10 or 10:30, that's the downside to being consistent. Some days we put up 3s and 4s out of 10. Some days we put out 8s out of 10, but I like to think that the average is a 7 out of 10. And I'll take that over putting up a 10 out of 10 one day out of the week. Just hit mile 9. That's the mailbox right there. I'm gonna take one last sip of water, drop the stuff, taking a gel with me, then be back in a bit. Nice, calm, beautiful spring morning. Very humid. We finished 20 miles. Boom. Average 8:30 pace, 20 miles, 2 hours, 50 minutes, 14 seconds, and I stopped 3 times. Gas station, bathroom, had to do a little errand, then another gas station trip, got a little Gatorade right there. That was a struggle. I don't usually stop that many times, but I had to get some things done. That was a struggle. And let me sit down for a sec. That was my first time doing 6 straight 20-mile days. I did the marathon on Sunday, and then I did 4 20-mile doubles in a row, and then this 20-miler this morning. And it was challenging to do that this morning. Yesterday I was at probably about a 6:50 pace for my morning run, and I was not clipping off at that pace today. But as I was saying, guys, the shoes are one piece of the channel. The shoes are really what got the channel started, but I'm hitting this point now where I don't feel the value that I can add is really going to be all about talking about shoes. And I also don't feel like I'm creatively, mentally, intellectually stimulated by talking about these shoes every day. And just thinking about where the channel is as a business, we've reached a point where the daily videos on shoes, we're casting, let's just say we're casting a wide net with it within the shoe nerd, shoe geek community. And I'm feeling like I need to branch out and offer a little bit more, introduce some different things to the channel. I've been talking about for the past few weeks, even in the video last week, these shoes are the least important part of the running journey to me. And if I'm saying that, I need to also be living that out with my actions. And putting out videos every day on just shoes is not doing that. So starting today, we're going to introduce some different things to the channel. That doesn't mean I'm not talking about shoes at all. I'll probably do another shoe review on Sunday. I'll probably do one on Monday. But today, what insights can I give to you all from my experience doing 6 straight 20-mile days and doing a 20-mile long run this morning that was an absolute struggle. And what was coming to mind when I was out there was how to find your ideal weekly mileage, or your weekly mileage limit, or your weekly mileage maximum. So with that, there were 5 main points. First 2 around, and I will say something on this, just on the shoe quickly, by the way, before we get into the 5 points. It was fine. It was comfortable. Basically everything I said before. Not a lot of pop, not a lot of bounce. One weird thing though is my feet. I told you my left foot was hurting a little bit, and the shoe wasn't really helping all that much compared to some other shoes I've run in. Something like the Convaro Pro even feels a little bit more protective. So it's okay. I'll probably put it back into the walking rotation. It's a fine option for relaxed running, but I'm not going to be taking it out for another 20-mile long run. Now, how to find your ideal weekly mileage. So first thing, if you are running lower mileage, if you're not sure if you're running high enough mileage, here are 2 ways to tell. And then I'll get into the 3 ways you know you're running too much mileage or approaching your maximum. So first way, if you are able to run all of your runs hard, meaning you're getting out of breath, you're able to finish them strong, you're sweating, you're working, you feel every time you run, you know your legs are going to burn, your lungs are going to burn. You're probably running your daily runs a little bit too fast, and I'm guessing if you're able to do that every day, then you're not at your weekly ideal mileage level. And when I'm talking about weekly ideal here, I'm talking about becoming a better distance runner, better at racing half marathons, even 5Ks or 10Ks. I'm not talking about running for general fitness or just happiness. Well, this will apply to happiness, but if you like running 1 run per week hard, I'm not saying that's a bad thing
at all, or 2 runs per week, or 3 runs a week. But if you want to start becoming a better endurance athlete, this is really the point of this discussion here. So if you're able, and I know my friend Kurt, by the way, he always emails me. He loves the Saucony Endorphin Speed Tooth. He says he does he calls it an effort run, 6 miles, 1 run per week. He goes out, he mashes the gas, he comes back in. So if that is you, that's completely fine. That is not a bad thing at all. But for people who want to become better endurance athletes, if your goal is to run longer, faster, at a lower effort, one way to tell that you're not at your weekly mileage level, your weekly ideal mileage level, is if you're able to mash the gas on all those runs. You're probably not running every day per week. You're recovering really well, I'm guessing, in between your runs, which is great. But if you're able to go out there and empty that tank every time, you're probably leaving something on the table when it comes to those aerobic benefits. So the whole point of running higher mileage and why it's a good thing to run higher mileage is because you'll build your aerobic base. So it will take less effort to run longer at a faster pace. Your body gets better at burning fat instead of carbs and storing up carbs and burning carbs more efficiently so you can serve your glycogen stores for longer. So if you're going out there and just depleting yourself in 30 minutes, you're not building up that aerobic base. You're not teaching your body how to conserve glycogen, how to conserve those carb stores and burn fat. So that's why we increase the mileage. The second way to tell that you're not at your ideal mileage level to become a better endurance athlete, or just a way to know that you have a lot of gains left on the table, is if you are not doing 2-hour long runs. So the 2-hour long run is the number one building block of my endurance training style. It's what took me from a 1:30 half marathoner to a 1:19 half marathoner, that plus race pace workouts. It's what's allowed me to consistently be able to run a marathon any weekend that I want, and to run a sub-3 marathon whenever. I can run a sub-3 marathon with 5 days notice now. I just need to make sure I'm not even taper, just make sure I'm not running 5 20-mile double days in a row, and I can now run a sub-3 marathon. And my fastest marathon time is not that much faster than a sub-3. My marathon PR is a 2:49, but because my aerobic base is so strong, I've pulled through all of my endurance gains so that I can sustain that marathon speed really well. So I've gotten super efficient at being around that marathon speed. I haven't increased my maximum marathon speed in a while now, but those 2-hour long runs make it so that I can recover quickly, and then I'm able to run longer and hold that marathon pace for longer. Now, if we're thinking about bringing that marathon pace down, that's where adding in some faster speed work, specifically lactate thresholds. That's the pace that we can sustain for an hour. Adding some of that in is what's going to do that. And also around lactate threshold, for me, now that I'm in the 1 teens for a half marathon time, just a little bit slower than lactate threshold is half marathon pace. So working lactate threshold / half marathon pace, that will also increase the half marathon time. But just thinking about becoming a better endurance athlete, if you are not doing the 2-hour long run, that's one way to tell that your mileage is not high enough. Just consistently chipping away, whatever your pace is. If it's going to be 10 miles, if that takes you 2 hours, start there. For me, it was about 16 miles at a 7-something pace. So if you're a similar fitness level to me, maybe you run a 125 half marathon or a 130 half marathon, I would start with 14 to 16 milers. If you are a 4-hour half marathoner or a 4-hour marathoner, I would start with those 10 to 14 milers, just building up to 2 hours every weekend. That will get you huge gains in your marathon fitness, I promise you. And your 5K fitness and your 10K fitness will help at any level of time. And it's 2 hours on the weekend. You can if running is a priority, you can carve out those 2 hours. Now, 3 ways, this is what I was excited about, because I'm experiencing all 3 of these right now. The 3 ways to tell that your mileage is too high or you are approaching your maximum, approaching your ideal level. The first one is injury, pain, discomfort. So every single time, and I'm just going to speak from personal experience here, this is all anecdotal. I'm not pulling from any scientific studies other than my own experience. So every single time I've tried to increase mileage, and there's been basically 3 times I've done it. So first time was going from running
3 times a week, probably 15 to 20 miles a week up to 40, and then from 40 up to 60, 70, and then or up to 50, 60, then from 50, 60 up to 80. So when I increased from the 3 days a week to that 40, I didn't really experience any pain, any discomfort. I did it gradually. I did it by extending the long run, adding a few more days per week. That was great. Second time, when I increased up to 60 miles, I was also doing CrossFit full time. And that put, I don't know why I said full time, but doing CrossFit 4 to 5 days per week, that put a lot of stress on my body. And paired with the running, I was actually running in an on shoe at the time. I was running in the Cloud Stratus, but paired with the running, it was just a little bit too much, and that led to an injury, my first and only serious running injury to this point. It was something with my knee, and I recovered after my marathon build, but I never really was able to work through it during that marathon build. So every single time where I've increased mileage and I've gone up too high, I've gotten injured or had some sort of discomfort. And the last time that this happened to me was around when I reached 80 to 100, hitting that level. Every time I tried to crack through 80, I would have either an Achilles pop up, or I felt that knee tighten up again, or something just didn't feel right. And so I held at that mileage level. So that's the way that I've been able to find what my ideal level is, where I'm at the point where it feels like I'm pushing my body. The workouts are challenging, but I'm able to recover. And then adding any more mileage just makes me feel like I want to back down. That's where I find my ideal weekly mileage level. And that's how I know right now that 100 is still the number that I need to be at, because doing 6 straight 20-mile days, that's 120 miles in the past 6 days. I've now done 130 miles in the past 7 days, and it feels like too much. I've hit 120 before, and it was okay, but this is a really condensed period right now with the 20 days in a row, and it feels like too much. I have some discomfort, so we got to back down. And that brings me to my second way you can tell that mileage is too high, and that is performance. So if performance starts to decrease, and today, putting up an 8:50 pace 20-mile long run, that's not falling off a cliff, but for me, I can tell I'm fatigued, and fatigue is an important part of marathon training and training as an endurance athlete in general. And I've never been able to improve my fitness without going through periods of fatigue. But if I were this fatigued every week and I were running my long run every week at an 8:50 pace, I wouldn't be making any gains unless I were training for an ultra and my goal were just time on feet. But because I have been more specialized in the marathon and half marathon last year, running in long run an 8:50 pace is not going to improve my fitness. And that tells me, well, it did. This is the thing, right? We can have different goals. My goal this week was not fitness building. It was to do these 5 straight 20-mile days, 6 straight 20-mile days, and we did that. But going forward, when I do want to increase my fitness, it's not going to be at this 130 mile per week level, because my body is not yet ready to handle that. I need some more time, a few more months at this 100-mile week level before I jump up again, because the performance and pace is one way we can tell. Pace is just not there. So if I were able to go out there today and mash at 6:50 for the last 10 miles and that felt normal and I had no discomfort during that run, I would say, yeah, we can do 20-mile doubles every day. But I know that I need to take a 4 to 8 mile recovery day before my long runs in order to get the best performance. I need to take a 4 to 10 mile recovery day before a threshold workout in order to actually execute 4 to 6 miles at threshold pace. So because of those limitations that I know I have right now, just the logistics around mileage and doing those 2 4 to 10 mile days, that means my cap is going to be 100 to 115 miles per week based on how we can structure things. So you'll have to figure out where that is for you. I've found it for me. I know I can still do 2 or 3 20-mile double days per week, or 2 or 3 20-mile days per week, and get optimal marathon training performance, but I can't do the 20 miles every day to do that. So we can consider this week a little bit of base training. We're going to get all those aerobic benefits, mitochondria, blood cells, glycogen, ATP. I'm just gonna throw out all the sciencey words at you guys. I gotta brush up on my science. But yeah, we still got all the benefits from running long, but we're not going to increase our marathon specific fitness by running at this level. So that means we got to adjust. We got to back down. Next week, we can hold 100 miles per week. And if you're at 40 miles per week and you're realizing that's too much, you might need to bump down to 35 if you're not able to hold your long run and execute your workouts. But yeah, that's one way to tell. I don't even know where I was going with that, but that's one way to tell if pace is decreasing, if we're not able to hold workout paces based on our current level of fitness. If the long runs start getting slower and slower, the mileage is too high. Now, last one, this is super important, is mood. 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 If mood is consistently in the tank, we're tired, we're irritable, we're not feeling great, the mileage is probably too high. Now, I actually don't really experience this all that often anymore when, and this is a big WHEN, when I am properly fueled. So I know now that I just need to attack calories when I'm doing these 20-mile double days. And yesterday was a little bit weird because I had to go to the school performance and then we had the pool party. So my calories were all over the place. That's why I ended up eating dinner at whatever it was, 9:30, 10 p.m. And it completely messed up my stomach this morning. But that's a big way I've been able to help my mood get a little bit better during these periods where I'm super fatigued. And I realize I can now have muscular fatigue and body fatigue without experiencing all the negatives of mood if I am properly fueled. So luckily, I've figured out a way to stay fueled up, and carbs are going to be the big main piece to this. But there is going to be a point where if you're just at a mileage level that's too high, even if you're feeling right, you might not be in the best mood. And of course, sleep is going to come into that as well. But if you're not able to sleep well and recover well, the mileage might have to come down too. So that's the last key piece there, right? Mood, recovery, and fuel. If we can sleep and recover well and get the calories we need, I've found that the mood falls into place. But if one of those first two things are out of whack and the mood is out of whack, then we might need to bring the whole training volume down to get everything back into balance. Now, speaking of bringing the training volume down, I am taking a true recovery day tomorrow. No running. I'm super excited about that. So other than just taking the mileage down, that's another way where we can reset and maybe try to attack the same volume the next week if you're looking to do that. So for me, I'll probably try to hit 100 next week, back to normal. I've done 100 dozens of times at this point. I can execute all my workouts well at that level if I can structure the week right. And that's the other thing. Sometimes, guys, with traveling, with working full-time, with having kids, if you have to shift things around, that will throw the balance of the workouts out of whack too. And if you're trying to hold a mileage level that maybe your body can sustain, logistically with the schedule, you might not be able to sustain it because you then have to put a 20-mile double day before your threshold workout. That can throw everything off too. So that's another thing to consider, right? Even if your body can recover from a higher volume of work, if your schedule doesn't allow for it, then you're going to need to prioritize either volume or intensity based on what your goals are for the block. So if your goals are becoming a better endurance athlete and you're not consistently doing those 2-hour long runs, then maybe we go for the volume. But if you've been doing 20-mile long runs or 2-hour long runs for a few years, you feel like you're plateauing, you haven't been doing a lot of speed work, maybe we focus on the intensity. So that is all I have for you today, guys. I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed the view of the grass if you stayed out here. And like I said, we're going to try some different stuff on the channel. I'm going to try to bring some more insights from my experience as a hobby jogger, not just about the shoes. So if you enjoyed this, please let me know. Let me know what other topics you want to see me address. My goal with this channel is to make it the most helpful place possible for people who want to improve their running and who want to improve their life through running. So happy Memorial Day weekend, guys. I'll be back tomorrow with another video, and up your best. One more thing. Mountain cows. Don't get too close. Why?
What's a mountain?
This is nothing compared to the views we'll have tomorrow. Just wait. Just you wait. There's lots of cow poop. Watch out for the cow poop. Oh wow, those bulls are going at it.
I mean, you can.
Up?
Cow manure.
So you want me to take you up to see the cows?
Yeah.
You wanna walk up there?
Yeah.
Okay, we can. You gonna walk by yourself?
I'm not gonna do it. I am.
Yeah, that's disgusting. Don't touch that.
It's a cow pie.